Hello, and welcome to the Talk Tonight podcast. Today we're continuing with the What They Mean to Me series. I'm joined by Ben. Hello. So, why is Queen of the Stone Age your favourite band?
It's a good question. Queens of the Stone Age are my favourite band because, I don't know. To me, it seems like there's like nobody quite like them really. Like once I started to like get into them, and like they sort of have their own sound. You know, like how Foals have their own sound. Like certain bands, they sort of have that. And but like they just have like so many great tunes. I think like once I sort of like delve deeper into like what they're about, like you know how like certain bands they'll release an album and it'll be like the singles, and it'll just be like filler, like a bit like Catfish. Shock.
Oh,
I won't bring them up. Sorry.
No, you can bring them up. It's fine. You know, it's bad because like they're the band always go to.
Yeah, they're just
to compare of like how they
bad
don't change
things.
their sound. But anyway, yeah.
But they Queens of the Stone Age aren't like that. I'd just like to say. But yeah, they just have like strength and depth. Like they just like you can like delve deeper in it, even though like smaller songs. Like of course they have a few like bad songs, like a bit like duds. But like they do like most of their tunes are pretty great. But like on top of that, they're great live. Like just, I don't know if anyone listened to it has ever actually seen them live, but they're pretty sick. But we'll get onto that, won't we?
Yeah, we will.
But like just every album they have is like different. Like certain bands, like we were saying previously about Blossoms, like they're sort of like the third album's like hit or miss, like break or break, but they've changed their sound. Whereas like Queens of the Stone Age, like every album's like a little bit different to the last. So like for example, like Songs for the Deaf is like a concept album with like them driving from Los Angeles into the desert, and then like 3 years later they hit you with like this Lullabies to Paralyze, which is like this it's like a medieval album. It's quite like it's like really dark, like you get that sense like listening to it. And then like 2 years later with Era Vulgaris, or however it's said, it's quite like a robotic, like you listen to the songs, they're quite like robotic and like clunky almost. So like each sort of like album brings its own sort of sound, and that's again like I think that's pretty cool. So like you have like an album for everything, like every sort of mood almost. Does that make sense?
I think me and Dan did the Arctic Monkeys one. We were just saying like that is
you did say
I think
like,
that's when you know you're quite a successful band, when you've got an album that can cater for every mood and emotion, you know, and that is
100%.
Well,
that's the thing with Arctic Monkeys, like you said, like with Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino, like they changed it up so much. Like it caught loads of people by surprise, but like a few years on now, you sort of realise how good that album is, don't you? And I think even like with Queens of the Stone Age, like I don't think they really changed their sound up too much like that. But like with, for example, like I said, with having that concept album of Songs for the Deaf, which is like such a great album, and then just changing it up like with this like really like medieval and like gritty album that is Lullabies to Paralyze. It's quite cool how they can just like do that and just drop that, and people are just cool with it. You know what I mean? And it works so well.
No,
it's just
probably like why they are as popular as they are, really. Like
100%.
So it's just how it is. I don't think it's bands do it enough, really.
No, well, there's so many bands now that play it safe, don't they, and sort of sell out, I guess. It's just it's a bit sad. Like I don't know how to describe it.
Especially when you know. Like when you know that the potential was there for them so much 100%. Better.
Well, that's the thing. Like you see, like bands release their first album, you can tell they've put like everything into it, and then like you get to like the second album, and it's just like they've got the money, like they've started to like see the fame and stuff. You know what I mean? You can sort of tell. Like a lot of second albums are just bad.
Yeah.
Bands just drop off, and it's just sad. But Queens of the Stone Age do not do that.
They don't. Everyone is like. Yeah, every like album they do is different, and it's nice to see, really. But,
100%.
How did you manage to get into them then? Like, how did you find out about them?
Yeah, so actually it was I think I've been listening to them for about just over 3 years now, and I always used to watch like Arctic Monkeys live set at Austin City Limits, because I just really enjoyed that set for some reason. And Josh Homme comes on to perform Knee Socks with the band, and I was like, oh, that guy seems pretty cool. And then Alex said, was like, you can see their band later over there. I didn't think too much of it, to be honest. I was like, oh, it's just some like small artist that's like come on and he's like done this thing, like being like naive about it. And then like a few months later, I think I was just like listening to like random songs on like YouTube, and I saw like it just come up in the corner, and it was like Queens of the Stone Age, and I was like, oh, that rings a bell. That's that guy, isn't it? And it was you think what is it? You think you ain't worth $1, but I feel like $1 million.
Yeah,
I can't. It's a long
Lona. Yeah, it's a long title.
But like as soon as I like pressed play on that, and I was like, holy wait, can I swear on this? I won't. You know what I mean.
Try and keep it limited, you know.
Yeah, but it like blew me away. Like it was like such like a just like high octane song sort of thing. It just literally blew me away. I was like, oh my god, this song is like amazing. Like, and even to this day, like I listen to that and I'm like, that song's just incredible. Like it's just a riff. Like it's just like I don't know. I just don't know how to describe it. It's like as soon as I heard that song, I was like, this is gonna be my favorite band. Like. It was such like it just hit me like
you know, like
certain songs. Man.
That is the thing. Like everyone's got a different favorite band. Hence why this is going to be like a series.
Yeah, a series, man.
And everyone does have a favorite band for whatever reason. It could be like a list thing, or it could be like that you've seen them live and you didn't really think much of them before, like just listen to them casually. Yeah, and then you go see someone live and completely change. Like
100%. So have you got a band that you like saw live and you were like, okay, like changed your opinion on them?
Foo Fighters, I think.
Fighters.
I liked them anyway.
Yeah, but then it sort of hit you.
Yeah, I was like, Jesus Christ, man, these are incredible.
Yeah,
and then it's generally the only reason I went to Reading last year.
Yeah, really.
But luckily, the lineup was enough for me to.
Yeah.
It wasn't awful, but
yeah, I know what you mean. Like, well, Reading's just going downhill a bit, isn't it? Recently, it's like you're clutching at straws, really. But like, I see what you mean about like live bands. Like, obviously, this is about Queens of the Stone Age, but I must say, like, when I saw Slaves, was it Community Festival like 2017 or something? I hated them at the time. I was like, why do people listen to Slaves? They're not that good. And I saw them live, and I was like, okay, that like instantly just changed my opinion on them. Yeah, I love when that happens. It's great. Like they're so good. But yeah, no, that's how I got into Queens of the Stone Age. Sorry, I got off track.
That's right. So like, you listen to all their albums and stuff, and they've got like, I think is it 7 or?
7 at this currently. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, what would you say is like your favourite one?
That's a good question. It's a tough question, I think, because like. With like other bands that I love, like I always have like one album that I can go to and I'd be like, that's like the go-to album. But whereas like Queens of the Stone, I don't know, man. I have 3. Like there's 3 albums that I think are absolutely incredible, and I can't really like say which one's like first, second, or third. Like Queens of the Stone Age have 3 like magnum opuses, if that makes sense. Like these are the albums. So like Rated R, which is, well, if I go in like chronological order, Rated R is their second album. That's a crazy album. Like it's just like loads of like drug references and stuff. Like they were sort of like they would, you know what it is, they were just like on it. Like drugged up and stuff. But that's like a crazy album. And then you get like probably like the classic Queens of the Stone Age album, which is Songs for the Deaf, which obviously has like No One Knows and like Go With the Flow, which is obviously like their 2 biggest songs. But like that again in itself, that's a great album. That's like a concept album. And then I would probably say, if I had to choose, Like Clockwork is my favourite album by Queens of the Stone Age, possibly ever. Like it's such a I think if I had to choose, like I think that's the one I've listened to most. That's the one I like resonate most with me.
I feel like that is the one that you would associate that band with, like, or seeing.
Yeah, like, I'd probably say between Songs to the Deaf, I think it's a bit bigger, or Like Clockwork, one of the two. But for me, Like Clockwork, because like, everything about it, it's like perfection, man. It's like the songwriting's amazing. all of the songs sound like crazy. Like they're just all the songs are great on there. But like the thing is with that as well, it's like the production. Like I know, like obviously, like when you listen to stuff more, you sort of start to like notice the production a bit more and stuff. And it's just like everything on the album is just perfect. Like the bits in between the songs, they just sort of just like go into each other. Like it's just honestly, it's such a great album. I love it.
Yeah, it really.
But like it has like a whole host of like, it's got like Trent Reznor in there. It's got like Elton John, Alex Turner's on there. But like it's quite subtle. Like you couldn't tell that you have all these like features on there. But like that's how well it's done. It's like all the songs are quite layered and like they just like it's subtle, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah,
but yeah,
like in the background.
Yeah,
like,
but like that,
I
think
know.
the most. Sorry, continue. Sorry, man.
I was just saying, no, it's fine. I was saying like I didn't know about Josh being on knee socks until I read about it. It's one of those things, isn't it?
Well, that's the thing. That's like, I was like, who is this guy singing on stage? I didn't even realise. I thought it was just like one of the like the bassist or something. You know what I mean? Didn't really think too much of it.
No.
But yeah, no, I like the fact that again you have like these big names on this album, but like this it's so subtle. Like they just add to the song in like a really perfect way, but it's not like in your face. It's not like, you know, when like people like are like featured on songs and then they have like a verse or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like that. It's just like
subtle in the background, isn't it?
Yeah. Like I think probably the most noticeable like feature on there is probably on Fair Weather Friends. You can hear like Elton John, like he's doing the keys. I think that's literally the most notable thing.
Oh,
but
right.
I think that's probably my favourite album. I think that's sort of best way to explain it.
So you've talked about them live. So you've seen them live, haven't you? So
twice.
Talk us twice. So one was Finsbury Park, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, don't start. Yeah.
Well,
that was
still annoyed I didn't go.
Mate,
I didn't go.
Honestly,
absolute schoolboy error from me there.
Tell me about it. You missed such an incredible gig. Like just everything about it was just like, even the lineup. Like I've got a post on my wall: Iggy Pop, like Run the Jewels, The Hives, Miles Kane, all that. It's like I'd pay to see that at a festival anyway.
It wasn't even that expensive, was it?
No, I think it was 50 quid, which is, to be fair, it's not too bad, especially for like Finsbury Park gigs. Christ,
that is pretty good actually.
But yeah, no, I just like, obviously I was there for Queens of the Stone Age, but like the whole day was like, just mate, that gig, I can't really explain it. It was just amazing.
Is it like the same kind of setup as Community?
Yeah, it's literally, it's all they changed is, you know, it says like Community Festival on like the sides above the screen. It said like Queens or something, and then like they had their like staging in, but like it was just like, it's just sort of, I've never watched a band live and like the sound, it feels like it's on top of you. It was so loud. It was so like, it was incredible, man. It was just, it was like cacophonous almost. It was just like, it was just in your face. And like, bearing in mind, I was like stood quite far back. You know how far back the sound stage is? I was sort of there, and it was like the sound was just on top of me. It was incredible. And like, I will never forget that. Like I've never seen it at a gig since either. Like, but it was just truly incredible.
That's like the loudest gig, you think?
Yeah, I think not the loudest, but it was just like the sound was just on top of you. It was so like, it was like I can't actually explain it. It was just incredible. Like, but yeah, no, I was sort of also like the first like few songs, I was sort of just in awe of like, oh my god, this is Queens of the Stone Age. I'm finally getting to see them. But like, I was so impressed. Like, I had high hopes. Because obviously, like seeing like Arctic Monkeys, Kasabian, all these bands live, they're great live. But like, I like at the time, like Kasabian were probably still my favorite band at this point, and like I was just literally just blown away by how incredibly good they are live. Because they're all just incredibly good like musicians. Yeah. Like they're just all like amazing, and it's just it really is like, it's just like you're sort of in awe at like some points. It's just like I don't think I could, like Foo Fighters. If I see Foo Fighters live, they might like be able to like get on that level. I don't think anyone will be quite as good as them. But yeah, that's fair, if you can see them live, go see them live. They're great.
I will. They are like on the bucket list. Like I think I've seen everyone that I have wanted to see, apart from them. So they're definitely on it.
the ones that got away, Queens of the Stone Age.
I know.
See, the funny thing as well, actually, is I saw them at the Eden Project, the like Eden sessions, a few days later.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But it was a completely different gig. Like, it was obviously it was smaller, but like you had everyone like moshing at the front, whereas at Finsbury Park, literally everyone around me was like going through it. It was crazy, but like it was just it was such a weird thing, because like, I was expecting it to be quite rowdy again, but like everyone, like I was stood quite far back and everyone was just like smoking, like just like lighting up, and I was like, it's just so chill. I was like Sam. I was like just there with my pint, like, oh, okay. Oh. But yeah, no, they're just great, man.
And obviously, Josh is known for being quite a collaborative musician. So do you listen to any of his other projects and that?
Oh yeah, definitely. So I think like the main one currently is the Desert Sessions, which is like he just brings in loads of different like artists and like, you know what I mean, and they just sort of just jam it out in the studio and see what happens. But yeah, they released an album last year. It's a weird album, but it's a great album. It's odd, I'd say the least. But yeah, Desert Sessions, that's some cool songs in there. It's more like they're just experimenting with stuff in there. But I've listened to a bit of them Crooked Vultures, which is Josh Homme, Dave Grohl, and it's the bassist from Led Zeppelin, I think. I can't remember his name. I've listened to them a bit. His name eludes me. I've literally forgotten it. It's gone out of my head. But yeah, it's a big like star-studded lineup. I've listened to them a bit. I can't fully get into them, but it still sounds pretty good from what I've heard.
Yeah, I really like them.
Because
they're just like quite no nonsense as well. They're just
definitely
just standard rock and roll, and it's just
just straight up. Like it's like, what do you want to listen to? Rock and roll. Just stick them on, then.
Literally. Yeah.
But I think the main like side project that I've listened to is Mini Mansions, which isn't Josh Homme. It's the bassist Mikey Schumann, and also when I saw them, it was the drummer John Theodore. But yeah, that's like the main like sort of Queens of the Stone Age side project that I've listened to, and I really like Mini Mansions. They're not that well known. They're most well known actually is they have a song where Alex Turner does a verse on there, so obviously everyone loves that. I think it's called like Vertigo. So most people would have seen that and be like, oh, Alex Turner, you know what I mean? But Mini Mansions are quite a good band, man. It's just like Mikey Schumann's sort of band, so like he sort of, I don't know, whenever Queens of the Stone Age ain't touring, they'll do that. But Mini Mansions is a good side project, so if anyone wants a new band to listen to, they're good in. But yeah, the thing is as well with that is like, obviously I was saying like I've spoke to like after that gig that I saw them at, like this was in Exeter, like in a small little place, and it was just like me and my mate, we were just chatting to, like, I was sort of like fangirling a bit. I was sort of like, oh my god.
Yeah,
like,
I know. Of course,
these guys are in Queens of the Stone Age. But like
naturally.
we were speaking to them, like I was saying to you, we were speaking to them for half an hour, just like a general chat. It was just really nice. Like it's just, they were like just generally like down to earth people, and like they would like, it's like, you know, when you speak to like someone and it's generally like they want to know like what you've done that day, and it's like they were just like, they wanted to know about us as well. They were like asking us questions. And then like I said to you before, like we were saying about talking about spoons and stuff, like they didn't know what like spoons was, and I was like, guys, you've got to like, you're in the UK, like go to Spoons at least once, you know what I mean? But yeah, no, it was generally just like sound. We were just chatting to them for half an hour,
nice.
Waffling on as you do.
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
nice
that's the thing.
It's rare, isn't it?
It is. I said I've only ever had good interactions with like bands. Like the only other time I've bumped into people was the Amazons, and that was after the Finsbury Park Queens of the Stone Age gig on the Tube. That was pretty crazy. But yeah, I was talking to those guys for like,
the Amazons are good, aren't they?
I love them so much. They're great, aren't they?
They are great, yeah.
But yeah, and again, that's the thing as well. Like I was sort of like, oh my god, like that's like the Amazons. But like in your head, you're like, they're gonna be dicks. And then I was like just talking to them for half an hour on the Tube, and it was just, they were just so nice. And like again, we were just chatting, and it was like, this is so weird. Like, and obviously it's normal to them guys, but like it's just so nice to like because I'm not like one of these people that will like wait outside the gig and be like, oh yeah, I need to like meet him. You know what I mean?
No,
like, sort of force it.
It happens, doesn't it?
But like this was like sort of like natural, and it was like this is like, I'm not going to get an opportunity like this every day. So I was like just chatting to them, and it was just so. It's just so nice to like know that like the bands you're listening to, I know it sounds stupid, but like they're just genuinely like people like you and me, and like they just like, I don't know, it's just this like sort of reassures my love for them, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's good, isn't it? So like what do you expect from Queen's The Stone Age in the future? Like, do you think they're in a process of doing another album, or do you think they'll go on a break?
I don't know, man. Like,
that's a good question. They do go away for like time.
Yeah,
don't they? Like,
for a long
like a
time.
4-year difference between.
Well, their biggest break was 6 years was between Era Vulgaris and like Clockwork. So that's a long time. That's like an Arctic Monkeys break.
Yeah, that is, isn't it? It was 5 years between
yeah, innit?
AM and Tranquility, wasn't it? Something like that. And that's
a long time.
That's quite long.
I don't know, to be honest. If I was to, I don't know, man. I don't mind. Like, obviously, like they've done, like Josh Homme's done like Desert Sessions, but like he has like his own. Like I think most of them have their own families now, so I assume they're just going to do their own thing. I don't know. I'd like to think in the next like two years, because obviously Villains was 2017.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Good album.
I'd say it's possibly their worst. Like, not that they have a bad album, but if I had to, like, in the nicest possible way, that's like a sound like I hate them. But it's a great album.
It's hard, isn't it, when you're like 7 albums in?
Yeah, innit?
To just conjure up.
I don't know. I'd like to see where they go. Like, I'm sure that they have it in the tank. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. Give it. Hopefully, there's an album in the next like 2 years, 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I can imagine probably would be like. Sometimes a break is good because you don't want to like turn out some like. Anything.
Well, yeah, no, 100%. Like, I'd rather wait a bit longer for like a band to release something good than like a band to like wait a year and be like, oh, here's another album, and it be crap. So like. I honestly don't care, to be honest. Like the albums they've got now, they could just never release another album. I'll be happy. But
yeah, the whole back catalogue is
it's pretty extensive. It's pretty great. Like I don't need much more from them. But it would be nice to see another album next 2 years, maybe.
Yeah.
Or like even if they do like them Crooked Vultures come back and do like another album or something.
I agree like that.
I don't even know. Like I don't mind if something. Anything, honestly, I honestly wouldn't mind anything
I think it'd
from
be
them.
More side projects.
Yeah, most probably. I feel like they would tour again, like maybe like 2022. I feel like because they obviously like Villains, they had like a massive like world tour.
Yeah, it was massive. Yeah,
and I think
looking at
like
the dates for it earlier.
Long gig, man. Like that's a long time. It was like almost like a year and a half or something. It's crazy.
Not many bands do it these days.
But that's the thing as well. That's another reason why I love them. They're so like they're like a true rock and roll band. Like there's no like they don't mess about, do they? They're like they're not in it for the money. They're just like hence like obviously their albums are so good. Like of course they're not. But I don't know. They just know what they're doing, don't they? They're just switched on. Like not many bands are anymore. But
no,
also, I forgot to mention as well. We were saying previously about other projects. I forgot to mention, didn't I, about so like with Arctic Monkeys. Obviously, they're quite close now, I guess, aren't they? Really, with Arctic Monkeys working on Hamburg over in America, recording it at their studio, didn't they? They sort of worked together on that. I forgot to mention. But yeah, I feel like
definitely tell like that
helps. Yeah, no, 100%. Like you can sort of see, which I think is quite a good point to mention, is that Arctic Monkeys could have burnt out after the first 2 albums because they're great albums. Like they're amazing. And it's like, where do you go from there? And like I feel like working, not necessarily he's like the main reason they continue to be so good. Obviously not, I'm not saying that, but I feel like Josh Homme sort of matured them a bit. Like obviously working together, like both like Alex Turner and Josh Homme, they're great minds. Like them working together, I think that helped Arctic Monkeys sort of like steady the ship and sort of just like progress and like mature as like artists. So like there's a big difference, isn't there, between the first 2 albums and like the next 2.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like that sort of helped.
Are probably like
they're quite. You can tell they were young. Like they were like it was like they're fast paced. They're like really energetic and like they're great albums.
Like out of all the Arctic Monkeys albums, I think the first 2 are probably the closest of being similar.
100%.
Then they just go off the rails.
And they just exactly. They just sort of start to experiment a bit more and sort of like but that's the thing as well. Like you see with other bands around that time. that didn't have such influences like Kaiser Chiefs and like Block Party. They released like 2 good first albums, and then they sort of just dropped off.
Yeah.
And Arctic Monkeys could have gone down that route, but they didn't. And again, I'm not saying that's because of Josh Homme himself.
Probably had a big influence.
I feel like there's quite a big influence there. I feel like you can sort of tell in the songwriting as well.
Yeah.
But it's just nice to see like 2 of my favorite bands sort of working together. That's crazy. I love it. But yeah, no, that's all I have to say on that, really, man.
All right, nice one.
Great, check them out. Thanks, Harry.
That's right there. So thank you for joining today, Ben.
No worries,
appreciate it. It's a good chat. So
next time I see you, we'll probably be in a mosh pit again, won't it?
Yeah, probably. Very back.
Can't wait.
Souls
man.
at Alley Pally.
Isn't it, man? But yeah, no, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, so it's been no problem, man. We'll have you on again at some point.